Welcome to another episode of EdTech Table Talks, where we dive deeper into educational technology best practices. Today, from the Science Department, I have a special guest, Mr. Harley Simms, and he's going to be talking to you about using Canvas to give exams. This is his 6th year using Canvas, so he's no stranger to it. And all 6 years, he has been giving final exams in Canvas. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Simms.
So what I typically do, and this year is kind of special because we have my program has grown. So now I have a second teacher who's teaching with me for AP Environmental Science too. So this year we've been trying to work on ways to share question banks across, and we've been using new quizzes to do that. So all of our tests that we've done this year have been through Canvas, and we've created question banks for each of those tests. And they're in Canvas now, so we don't have to recreate them again. We can use them again next year, and we can just go in and edit questions if we want to change stuff from one year to the next. But what we're going to be doing for our semester exams, we have all the question banks already in there. We're just going to be creating a new quiz in Canvas and telling it to pull questions from each of those banks. So I might have it pull 5 to 10 questions from bank 1, 5 to 10 questions from bank 2, 5 to 10 questions from bank 3. And what it's going to do is it's just going to randomly pull questions out of that bank. We have about 35, 40 questions in each bank. And we set the controls on our Canvas quiz to shuffle questions, pull randomly. So what that essentially does is it means that every single kid who takes that test will essentially have a different test. Questions will be in different order. They may not have the same questions. So we have to be careful when we do that to make sure that our questions in our question bank are of equal rigor. And that way we don't have some kids who may accidentally get a more rigorous test than other kids.
Given our current situation where we have some students in the classroom and some students at home, what is your current strategy to reduce the potential for cheating?
So that is a question you could lose a lot of sleep over. I think one thing that if I can just make sure everyone knows is this is not a normal year. We are in a pandemic. It is not normal, and you can drive yourself crazy trying to think of ways to keep your kids from cheating. And my advice to everyone is to pick your battles. Set up your tests in a way that reduces the stress level for the kids. Even our best and brightest kids, I teach AP kids, our best and our brightest kids, that temptation to cheat is still there, even for those kids. And probably even more so for those kids than other classes. And structuring your tests or your quizzes in a way that reduces that pressure, maybe having open notes, something like that, I think goes a long way. Also, having that honest conversation with your kids and saying, "Hey, I know that this pressure exists for you guys, right?" And having that conversation and talking it out with them. I mean, our kids are very receptive when you have those types of conversations with them. Now, with that being said, we do have some safeguards that we put in place. I have started allowing my kids to use notes on their test, and that has helped out a lot. It just takes away that stressor for the kids. It is a crutch, but as most of you and our seasoned teachers and veteran teachers know, open notes really don't help the kids out that much. But it helps alleviate some of that stress for them, and they're less likely to cheat. So maybe that might be an option for you. Also, the way that we set up Canvas and we structured it, as I talked about earlier, where it's pulling random questions from different banks. Not every kid's going to have the same test. That helps a lot as well. And you can also put in questions that might be kind of gotcha questions. And I've done this on my last few tests where I've had open notes. I tell the kids, I'm like, you can't answer every single question out of your notes. The answers aren't there. And I realize that, and I'm not going to give you a score immediately at the end of your test. And what I do is I put questions in there that if I have a large number of kids that get the question right, I know that there has been Google involved. Or I will put a question in there that kind of helps me gauge how much cheating has gone on. I don't make those questions count against the kids. They're just there to kind of give me an idea of what's going on when I see the results of my test. And I let the kids know that those questions are in there. I mean, I am transparent with my kids in terms of what's going on in the classroom and how the tests are going to be. So I'm not trying to pull a got you over them. They know that they can't answer every single question, and that drives our AP kids nuts because they have to have that 100. They have to be able to answer every single question. But it's there because it helps me have a gauge of how valid my test results are. So again, if I can say anything, pick your battles. You can drive yourself nuts. You can lose sleep over trying to design ways to keep kids from cheating. But it is what it is. You have kids that are on campus and you can see exactly what they're doing when they're testing, and you have kids that are not on campus, and no level of intervention that you put in place is going to stop someone who is not in your physical classroom from cheating, whether it's with a separate device or what have you. Another thing that you can do, and this is something that a lot of my peers are doing right now, is instead of favoring multiple choice tests, maybe favor fill in the blank or short answers. You can really tell really quickly if someone doesn't know what they're doing just by looking at a writing sample. So that will help as well. And those are some ideas, and hopefully you can use these to kind of help you with your semester exams.
Okay, with that being said, I'd like to thank Mr. Sims for being here today. And if you're interested in using item banks in Canvas, you can always contact myself, or there's other teachers that are Canvas specialists in item banks that can help you on campus.